It's great to be hosting another event with Senators Portman and Ayotte, and I am proud of our introduction, along with Senators Leahy and Klobuchar, of the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act. We filed that back in September. That legislation was the product of feedback from more than 50 public health, advocacy, and law enforcement organizations, including thoughts and ideas that we gathered at our two previous forums. Its goal is to encourage states to adopt comprehensive responses to the opiate crisis that is ravaging our communities today, as well as the epidemics of tomorrow. We expect our colleagues on the House side to introduce companion bipartisan legislation this week, making it bicameral as well as bipartisan, and we look forward to working for passage of these bills in the next Congress. Individuals who have been convicted of drug crimes and have served their sentences and have completed the path to recovery too often still face additional penalties long after their release. From barriers to affordable housing and education to limitations on employment options, these collateral consequences can linger years after an individual has committed an offense. The American Bar Association has identified over 38,000 statutes, state and federal, that impose collateral consequences on people convicted of such crimes, creating barriers to housing, to public benefits, to the ballot box. Over half of these 38,000 laws restrict ex-offenders' employment opportunities. Some of the restrictions are clearly necessary to promote public health and safety, but others, I would submit, serve no purpose beyond loading on additional punishment. And in fact, they may very well increase the likelihood that those individuals will reoffend. The collateral consequences of drug convictions impose costs not only on those directly affected, but on all of us, of society as a whole. If education and employment are the best predictors of successful reentry into society, then we all pay the price of limiting access to them. The good news is that a broad bipartisan consensus is emerging nationwide around the need to address these negative collateral consequences of drug convictions. States from Alabama to Colorado and from Rhode Island to Ohio have introduced or passed laws expanding expungement relief for convictions, improving access to employment and public benefits for ex-offenders, and restoring the right of ex-felons to vote. On the federal level, we have a little catching up to do. The Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act seeks to mitigate collateral consequences by providing funds for education for incarcerated populations, prioritizing for grants states that restore certain public benefits after release, and encouraging the Department of Education to remove vague questions about prior drug convictions from applications for student loans. As many of you know, Senators Booker and Paul have introduced legislation that would make it easier for juveniles in particular to have their convictions expunged. Coupled with bills like the Second Chance Act and the Recidivism Reduction and Public Safety Act, which I introduced earlier this year with Senators Portman and Cornyn, these measures can help move us in the right direction. So I look forward to working together with all of you on passage of these bills next year.